There is a strange kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much work. It comes from doing too much emotional work for everyone else. You're the one people rely on, the one who adjusts plans, changes moods, and keeps things smooth. You're kind, you're helpful, you're easy to be around. And still, at the end of the day, something feels heavy, because you gave again today and barely received. Every time you said yes when your body quietly wanted to say no, something small inside you stepped back. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to disappear. You tell yourself it's fine. You joke about being tired. You say that's just how I am. But there's a question you avoid. If I stop being useful, will I still matter? This is the psychology behind people who can't say no. It usually begins early. Not with a choice, but with learning. As a child, you noticed what kept people calm, what earned approval, what avoided conflict. Maybe love felt inconsistent. Maybe emotions were ignored. Maybe being good felt safer than being honest. So you adapted. You learned to read rooms before speaking. You learned to stay agreeable. You learned that being low maintenance kept you connected. No one said it out loud, but your nervous system learned the rule. Don't be difficult. Don't ask for too much. Don't give people a reason to leave. Over time, this becomes emotional self-erasure. You don't stop having needs. You just stop listening to them. Your attention turns outward. You notice tension instantly. You apologize quickly. You manage people's comfort without thinking. This isn't just kindness, it's hypervigilance, survival dressed up as generosity. You want connection, but only if it's safe. You want closeness, but not if it risks rejection. So you become needed instead of known. That's where the quiet loneliness begins. Not the loneliness of being alone, but the loneliness of never showing your full self. You sacrifice honesty for harmony. You swallow irritation. You smile through discomfort. At first, it works. People like you. People depend on you. But slowly something inside grows tired. There's a subtle grief here. Grief for words you never spoke. Grief for boundaries you never set. Grief for the version of you that stayed hidden to keep peace. This grief shows up as exhaustion, as resentment you feel guilty for, as feeling unseen, even when surrounded by people. The core fear underneath it all is simple. If I disappoint people, they will leave. So rest feels uncomfortable. Saying no feels cruel. Asking for help feels like weakness. In adulthood, this pattern spreads everywhere. In relationships, you give more than you receive. You listen deeply but share carefully. You fear being a burden. At work, you overdeliver quietly. You take on more than you should. You avoid visibility, then feel overlooked. Your self-worth becomes tied to usefulness. If you're not needed, you feel replaceable. And when someone asks, "What do you want?" your mind goes blank. Not because you don't have desires, but because you were never taught it was safe to have them. These behaviors aren't flaws. They're coping strategies. They protected you once, but now they cost you energy, clarity, and identity. Healing doesn't mean becoming selfish. It means becoming honest. Honest about your limits. Honest about your exhaustion. Honest about the resentment you've been carrying silently. You don't need to earn rest. You don't need to disappear to be loved. You don't need to be everything for everyone. Your inability to say no isn't weakness. It's proof of how deeply you learned to care. Now it's time to include yourself in that care. The goal is not to be fixed. The goal is to be whole. And that quiet shift can change everything.